The meltdown on Fox continues after Vice President Kamala Harris has become the presumptive Democratic nominee. The National Republican Senatorial Committee had to actually send its talking points over to Fox, and then people like Sean Hannity were basically reading these ridiculous talking points verbatim on air. Like, if you look at the talking points, then you look at what Sean Hannity and Jesse Waters and Laura Ingraham were saying. They were just reading from the list. Here, take a look at what Sean Hannity said to try to scare the viewers of Fox. It's pretty pathetic. Here, watch this.
Now, if Kamala gets her way, you will no longer get to enjoy private health insurance or gas-powered vehicles or plastic straws. I don't know about you. I hate the paper straws. It'll ruin any drink. And
could we be clear for a second? Under the Biden-Harris administration, the Affordable Care Act has been expanded. The MAGA Republicans try to take away health care. They're trying to destroy the Affordable Care Act. But for the late, great John McCain stopping their efforts, they would have completely repealed the Affordable Care Act many, many years ago. Let me show you what Sean Hannity said next. He goes, You may soon start seeing some polls where we're going to be losing in the battleground states. Here, watch what he says. Play the clip.
All right, buckle up, because Democrats, the state-run media mob, they're now pitching Kamala as the second coming of Jesus, which I can assure you, she is not. The puff pieces, they're already being written. The accolades, they are pouring in from every radical, democratic, leftist, socialist, Marxist in the country. The phony polls, I promise you, will follow, showing she is energizing Democrats. She might even be beating Donald Trump in a swing state or two, or maybe three.
Then, as we always know with Fox, everything is projection and confession. Here on Fox, they have Dana Perino go on and talk about how, well, now a memo was sent by the Democrats to go after Donald Trump for his age. We don't need a memo for that, number one. Number two, you're the one literally sending a memo. Here, play the clip.
What happened is, like, the Democrats have this bat signal that goes out, like, here's the new talking point. Mm-hmm. So after saying that Joe Biden was perfectly fine and his age didn't matter at all, and he runs circles around them at the White House. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, this memo basically goes out that says Trump is now the oldest nominee in history. And it's so incredibly ridiculous because they actually seem to believe that cutesy ridiculousness like that might work. I don't think it's going to work.
Here's a guy.
Look, they really have nothing. Here's Laura Ingraham's attempt to go after Kamala Harris. Play this clip.
And those same people, those very same people, are now trying to convince us that Kamala Harris is some political juggernaut. She's historic. She's young. By the way, she's going to be 60 on Election Day.
And what I like, too, is Democratic Congressmember Eric Swalwell goes on Fox to feel in this momentum, and he starts to talk about the threats posed by Donald Trump, the selfless act of President Biden. Take a look at Congressmember Eric Swalwell contrasting the selflessness of President Biden to the selfishness of Donald Trump, who tried to seize power through an insurrection. Play the clip.
It is surprising. You know, we were told by President Biden's doctor in a statement that he was doing well, that his vitals were all fine, that he didn't have a fever. So why didn't he make this statement to the American people? This is one of the most consequential decisions that a sitting president has ever made. So where is he?
Yeah. You know, I'll let him dictate the terms of that. But the Joe that I know is somebody who did something that Donald Trump would never, ever do, which is to put the country first. And so we saw a selfless president in contrast with a selfish person in the way that he approach this. And so he'll, make a statement soon, I'm sure. But now I'm focused on the future.
Reports are that he was very...
And Congressman Eric Swalwell tells the audience, I'd love him going on Fox like this, saying, let's talk about what this race is going to be. It's going to be about the past versus the future. Play the clip.
For that. And so this is going to be a race now about the past and Donald Trump, or the future, and also rights or reversal. The rights she'll protect, especially women's right to make a decision about her body, and the rights that, like that, Donald Trump has taken away with his Supreme Court nominees.
Tell me, well, the decision was to move it back to the states, and then the states decide about the rights that women have or don't have in that state.
In Florida,
which I know you understand.
6 weeks.
So
here's a great line from Congressmember Eric Swalwell. Let's take a look at whose cabinet is actually going to be at their party's convention. Donald Trump's cabinet doesn't support him because they know he's a threat to democracy. On the other hand, let's take a look at what happens at the Democratic National Convention. Here, play this clip.
And now, Karine Jean-Pierre, we thought we were going to get a press briefing today on this monumental decision that happened not even 24 hours ago. No press conference today, but she's going to go on The View tomorrow. Just for the American people, Eric, what should they think about all of this? A lot of people people go, this is crazy. Where is he?
Well, they should think that for the past 43 months, he hasn't had any cabinet controversies.
They're not meeting, apparently.
Almost no one from Donald Trump's cabinet.
You don't have controversies if you tell everybody what to say when they walk in the room.
But also just look legislatively how consequential he has been. Our kids will drive on the roads that he built. They'll power their phones with chips that he
don't they deserve to hear from the president then?
And he's going to speak to the American people. But again, there have been, his cabinet will show up at Kamala Harris's acceptance of her nomination speech. Donald Trump wasn't able to say that.
Okay. It wasn't too long.
As I said before, everything is projection and confession. Then you have Jesse Waters on Fox, who tries to go after Kamala Harris for inheriting the nomination, he says. I mean, really? That's where you want to go when Donald Trump is the leader of your party? And let's talk about who runs Fox. Here, play this clip.
She didn't earn this. She inherited it. And Americans aren't hot on heirs. They like self-made men and women. They're brainwashing us.
So then you see all the efforts that are being coordinated by the MAGA Republicans as well. You have the MAGA Republicans House Rules Committee. Here's what they announced, because they are an arm of the Trump campaign. Like, how pathetic can you be? They call an emergency hearing right now, the House Rules Committee. This is how pathetic they are. House Resolution 1371, strongly condemning the Biden administration and its border czar, Kamala Harris's failure to secure the United States border. I think the last time I checked here, there was a bipartisan border bill that Donald Trump killed and then took credit for destroying a bipartisan border deal. Also, border crossings are down right now, and MAGA Republicans killed a bipartisan border deal to help Donald Trump. Just so we remember that, why don't I just show you what a very conservative senator, James Lankford from Oklahoma, who President Biden tapped to lead the bipartisan negotiations, said about the threats that he received if he put forward a bipartisan immigration bill that would help the people. Just to remind you, let me show you this.
Some of them may have policy differences. Some of them have been very clear with me. They have political differences with the bill. They say it's the wrong time to solve the problem, or let the presidential election solve this problem. In fact, I had a popular commentator 4 weeks ago that I talked to that told me flat out, before they knew any of the contents of the bill, nothing was out at that point, that told me flat out, if you try to move a bill that solves the border crisis during this presidential year, I will do whatever I can to destroy you. Because I do not want you to solve this during the presidential election. By the way, they have been faithful to their promise and have done everything they can to destroy me in the past several weeks.
And by the way, we have Donald Trump on tape bragging about killing the bipartisan border deal. Remember this? Play that clip.
And in this deal, which we, by the way, killed. I think we killed it. I think it's dead, but you can never say.
Okay, back to the Fox flip outs right here. Here is Lara Trump brushing off the fact that Kamala Harris raised $81 million. Play this clip.
And obviously, raising money is a big part of this whole process, and that is an impressive haul for the new candidate on the Democrat side.
Yeah, well, Martha, we heard a lot about the donors, obviously, on the Democrat side, who were saying, hey, we're not giving any money because we don't trust that Joe Biden actually has a shot at beating Donald Trump. And they really questioned whether he was mentally able to be president for 4 more years. So clearly, these are a lot of people who I think were probably holding back their money. And now they're coming out and they're saying, okay, you guys got rid of Joe. Now we're going to put our money behind the candidate. And the sad thing, I think, to me, Martha, is, yeah, that's a big number. But these are these millionaires and billionaires people have to remember out there who are willing to do anything to stop Donald Trump, no matter how bad it might be for this country. And quite frankly, I can't think of something more frightening than Joe Biden running the country, except for maybe Kamala Harris as the president of the United States.
And again, what Lara Trump said there is a lie. It was not big dollar donors. It was over 880,000 individual donors, not millionaires, not that list of billionaires who were giving their money to Donald Trump, hoping for tax cuts and the oligarchy that they are looking for. And I just want to show you this too, because then Fox gives a platform to Donald Trump and his intern, Shady Vance, or JD Vance. Looks like he's like Trump's intern. And watch the awkward laughing here. Play this clip.
Did we have enough people? Why didn't we have enough people? Somebody said that a lot of people were put on Biden's detail. The problem is Biden doesn't draw anybody. He draws flies. He draws nobody. And you know, you don't need very many people for that because he does not draw. 30 people show up, and we have 55, 60,000 people show up.
Then earlier in the day, Shady Vance gave like one of the strangest speeches and talks about drinking diet Mountain Dew. Here, play this clip.
It is the weirdest thing to me. Democrats say that it is racist to believe, well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good. I love you guys. But
by the way, I mean, J.D. Vance is the biggest fraud in the world. He claims to be from Appalachia. He's from the suburbs of Ohio. Then he worked in Silicon Valley, and then he came back to Ohio, where he started a sham charity to exploit people who were suffering part of the opioid crisis. He claimed he was going to be giving charitable donations to people suffering, and he didn't. The only thing he did was like fund polls for himself, and then he funded a researcher who actually worked for Purdue Pharma that contributed to the opioid crisis. Let me just show you this. This is Andy Beshear, governor of Kentucky. Here's what he has to say about what you just saw there with Shady Vance. Play the clip.
Nobody gave me the governorship and nobody gave me a job because of who my father was. I'm proud of that. Obviously a reference to your own father. What's your response to those comments from Senator Vance?
But what was weird was him joking about racism today and then talking about Diet Mountain Dew. Who drinks Diet Mountain Dew? But in all seriousness, he ain't from here. He is not from Kentucky. Listen, this is a guy who would come maybe in the summers for some period of time or to weddings or funerals. And then he claims to be from Eastern Kentucky, tries to write a book about it to profit off our people. And then he calls us lazy. And this makes me angry, but it especially makes me angry about our people in Eastern Kentucky. Listen, these are the hardworking coal miners that powered the Industrial Revolution, that helped build the strongest middle class the world has ever seen, helped us win 2 world wars, and he called them lazy, acting like he understands our culture and he's one of us. He's not. This is a guy who went out to Silicon Valley that's trying to be an everyman. He ain't one of us.
Right? Diet Mountain Dew. Like, what in the world are we talking about? And then here's just more of the talking points that you're seeing from Fox, trying to scare their viewers. It's so pathetic. Play this.
But what they will turn to, Sean, to your point, is more identity politics. There will be more accusations. There will be accusations that if you don't like Kamala, we've already heard it. You're a sexist and you're a racist and you're everything else. So part of this plan and why fear is used by the left is it through chronic fear, right? It's not fear in general, which should be transitory, but the use of fear to have it be chronic, leading to mass anxiety, which causes a retreat of the public at large. It's a way to control you, to where it's dangerous to speak up, dangerous to contradict the masters of the universe out there, where you will do as you're told or you will be punished. It is very similar to the nature of domestic violence. It is domestic violence writ large.
And by the way, compare that now to like, here's a radio host named Charlemagne who goes on CNN. Here's what he has to say about endorsing Kamala Harris. Play this clip.
He's out. Do you think you might endorse Vice President Kamala Harris should she get the nomination?
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely would endorse Vice President Kamala Harris. I supported Kamala Harris in 2020 when she ran for president. I was out there on the campaign trail with her. She was the only reason that I voted for the Biden-Harris ticket to begin with. And, we have our, disagreements on air and off air. But I think that, she is the perfect person, to be to fight in these unprecedented times right now. So, yes.
Anyway, tell me what you think. Let's hit subscribe and let's get to 3 million subscribers together. And watching Fox and a Meltdown's a sight to behold.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.